On the 11th of February this year, 2025, I received an unexpected message on Reddit from a user who's in a band based in Boston, and they were pitching an animation idea they wanted to commission me to make for their upcoming single, which was going to be released in February. The only thing was, I hadn't actually been advertising for commission, and in fact, I'd never been commissioned to make an animation before, so this was completely out of the blue. And so I was pretty much caught off guard. The band were asking me to animate a walk cycle of a bipedal creature with a stone for a head. And the idea was that he'd walk into a scene in nature, plant some seeds, and the resulting flora would then birth another stone-headed bipedal creature who would then also leave the scene. And their intention was to basically take this 10 or 15 second animation and loop it across the entire duration of the song. Humorously enough, I'd never actually completed a standard animation walk cycle, and what you're seeing here is my very first attempt at an animation and is a yet to be completed project. So after taking a couple of days to think about the project and the logistics involved, I spent a few hours and produced this walk cycle and shared it with the band member I was in contact with. This was just a demo, and I did make changes to the final design. Shortly after I sent the demo through to the band, I sent my own pitch to them, where I offered to animate the entire runtime of the song, which was a whopping 4 minutes. I included a second demo showing some space-based action, and the idea was, worst case scenario, they would have their original loop animation, but best case scenario, they'd have an animation for the entire video. For better or for worse, the band were on board, and I found myself in a 9-day speedrun.
Thank you for your patronage.
And you might ask, Fargo, where did the hubris come from that made you think you could pull this off? And the answer to that would be that in the final days of 2024, I set myself a challenge and wrote a song, recorded it, and animated a full video for it in a 4-day speedrun, all as a thank you to my supporters on Patreon. And it was this video that the band saw online and prompted them to contact me. And I think it's worth noting here that the supporter appreciation animation was a little over a minute long, as opposed to the 4-minute runtime of the Stoneheads song. Now the thing about doing a speedrun project like the Appreciation song or the Stoneheads music video is that the extreme time constraints present certain challenges, from not getting things as perfect as they could be, like this render error I didn't spot for the asteroid animation until it was already out, to affecting the creative decisions made during the process itself, such as, for example, animating the Venus flytrap growing using a time-lapse aesthetic as opposed to drawing it frame by frame, all with the view of getting a little more mileage out of the sequence across the runtime. In addition to these limitations, a 9-day turnaround time for a 4-minute video meant that it was impossible to have any detailed email exchanges with the band about what story the animation would tell, not least because they were in Boston and I was in Australia. This meant that I was given total creative freedom. Luckily, I had a pretty coherent idea in my mind which drew from previous animations of mine, which in turn had been inspired by various films and science fiction that I grew up with. Perhaps the biggest influence on the commission was, of course, Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, cut the crap! Bring on the meat!
Little Shop of Horrors had all the elements I highlighted earlier and some, like an alien force from space, a viral replication, and of course, the kaiju. Now, all of my animations featured in the video and more are on my channel, and also I'll drop a link in the description for the animation commissioned by the band Dwelley and their song Stoneheads, which is genuinely a banger. As I previously mentioned, Dwelley discovered my animations on Reddit, so it's fair to say there is a huge element of luck in their finding their way to my work. But having said that, I think it doesn't hurt that I'm more motivated by people viewing my work than I am by seeing a return in terms of subscribers for every video I put out. And to that end, it helps to be willing to upload videos directly to Reddit, as opposed to exclusively sharing a link back to YouTube. I want my work to be viewed and or listened to first and foremost. If people choose to subscribe or support me after the fact, that's a bonus. But if no one is seeing what I put into the world, then what's the point? It's also worth saying that I'm no stranger to investing a huge amount of time and effort into a given project if it means getting it just so. I mean, speedruns aside, which means potentially weeks or months between uploads. In fact, I was 5 months into a huge video essay project when Dwelley contacted me for the commission, and once I finished the video, I got back to that video essay. And for what it's worth, it's a bit of a bonkers project involving a classic game from the 1990s. And since you've made it this far, I'll leave you with a little taster of that project, and maybe you'll be interested enough to hang around and see more, and if not, well, that's fine as well. It's totally cool, and thanks very much for watching my video and listening to me ramble.
longer about what they can achieve out there in your behalf, but what we can experience up here